What's up, WWE Champions Universe? Welcome to Champions Chat, the fastest growing podcast dedicated to the WWE Champions mobile game. I'm the underdog from the underworld, Rusty Graves, and with me, as always, the living dead, Lee Brown. What's up, Lee?
What's up, Rusty? So I've got a surprise for you this morning. I know I mentioned it, but I wasn't going to say it. It kind of blends the real world of wrestling with some of the game. So you know that there's this thing called artificial intelligence, right? You've heard of that? Yeah. So somebody, most specifically the Sportster, asked artificial intelligence to give its rating of the 10 best WWE wrestlers of all time. So You've not seen that article, right?
I have not.
Okay, all right. That would kind of ruin my surprise if so. Okay, so here's what I thought we would do. I'm going to go through all 10 of them. It shouldn't take long, but we can make it however long we want to. And I want you to react to AI's ranking of them, but I also think it'd be fun for us to talk about, is there like a good version of that character in the game? Like, if this is the top 10
nice.
all time...
Sure.
Do they have good representation in WWE Champions? And I think you're going to love number 10. Are you ready for it? Number 10.
Before we start this list, Lee,
okay.
I just want to let you know, I am artificially intelligent.
Wow. Wow. Is that lizard brain or that smooth brain thing you talk about a lot?
There used to be a joke when we were kids. What do you call a blonde that dyes brown? Artificial intelligence.
Wow. Just leaving it there, bro.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Number 10. AI's choice for the 10th best wrestler of all time, Bret the Hitman Hart. Your thoughts?
Okay. He probably deserves a spot in the top 10. I think he carried the company for a while. I think he carried matches everywhere he went. He should be in the top 10. And is there a top Bret in the game? I mean, we've had two recent Brets.
Yeah.
And it feels like you can support a case for, with all of the tricks, that yes, they can be many people's best Bret and best striker or best showboat. Just depends on how much you spend. I think both Brets were A tier, were they not?
No, actually, the striker one was considered an S tier, but I didn't really. I don't know. I wasn't as impressed with that Bret as I should be, and I continue to feel like, of all people, why in the world does Bret Hart not have a meta-defining sub? If we're going to have two of them in the 6-star gold era, that why not? Like, Bailey got the meta-defining sub move instead of Bret. But yeah
fair.
Good
feedback.
So all-time win-loss record, he's won 1,912 matches, lost 700, and draw 309. He was a world champion 7 times in WWE, WCW, New Japan, NWA, and once in Stampede Wrestling. So, Bret Hart,
impressive.
Number 10. Number 9, I think this will surprise some people and tick off Iron Sheik 84. Rey Mysterio, number 9, and greater than Bret Hart. Yeah.
Not over Bret Hart. Now, both Ray and Bret have uniquely offered a lot more than themselves to the wrestling universe by bringing in a family tree and a style, right? Bret brought in real grappling, technical wrestling, Stu Hart's Dungeon. Ray brought in Lucha Libre, brought in a slew of friends, his son. What have they contributed to wrestling so much than themselves, but put Ray a dual wrestler over Bret feels wild. Even that he's on the top 10 at all feels wild.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. And what are your thoughts on, is there a good enough version of Rey Mysterio in the game?
Yeah, Raphael.
Okay.
Super rare, super powerful entourage member.
Hall of Fame.
And Zombie Ralph, or I mean, Zombie
Raph.
Ray, Zombie Ray as well with gear, um, way more powerful than it should be. So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I agree. And Hall of Fame, if you have some tricks, can do, pretty impressive, especially if you're willing to throw a Piper plate on him. So, yeah, fair. So his all-time win-loss record, 1,614 wins, 693 losses, and 68 draws. World champion in WWE, WCW through the Cruiserweight division, and AAA, 3 major world title reigns. All right. So the next one, this one's a pretty interesting one for AI to have him so low, maybe. But what are we at? So 10, 9, so 8. Number 8 is The Rock. Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Top 10 for sure. He's brought the crossover superstar to a whole new level. Whereas like Hogan was in Suburban Commando, right?
I love Suburban Commando. Come on.
Well, like The Rock, it recently was the highest paid actor in all of Hollywood.
It's true.
So, and I would have to believe what he's done for wrestling. He brought it to new heights in the Attitude Era. Even in this era, he's still relevant and interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are several Rocks worthy of The Rock in the game. Okay. I love Final Boss. Yeah. I love him with his plate, the finery. I love the botch build. It's probably time to put Hall of Fame Rock in the game.
Yeah. I can see that.
Rey Mysterio's still active,
right?
Like, on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Right? So is The Rock in the WWE Hall of Fame yet?
Actually,
that's worth Googling.
Can
anyone Google that for us? Is The Rock in the WWE Hall of Fame? Because it would seem Rey made the Hall of Fame, Rock did not. Maybe it's because they haven't listed him as inactive for long enough yet. So,
yeah, I don't know.
That'll be a big class. Whichever class The Rock gets in will be a huge class.
Yep.
I mean, it would be bigger than anyone that came in last year.
Yeah.
Heyman was the headliner last year.
Right. So. Which was cool, but yeah, you're right. And in-game Tech Rock is phenomenal. In fact, surprisingly good at 6-star gold. And you mentioned the final boss, also decent up there, and pretty good. So I'm interested on the all-time win-loss record. You heard with both Ray and with Brett, their win was like 1,500 matches. Rock's win rate, so he's got 453 wins, which is a third or a fourth of what Brett and Rey Mysterio have, but he's got 355 losses, which means he's almost lost as much as he has won, and then 47 draws, but he has 10 major world title reigns and only one company, WWE. So, although technically he was one of the final WCW World Heavyweight Champions because of the invasion angle. So,
the big belt? Is it the big gold belt?
The OG big gold belt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So number 7, and this one is probably gonna rock the boat for some. Not even in the top 5. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
No, that's
AI
true.
chose Stone Cold as number 7.
That's right. You can't put him higher. He didn't have a long enough career. What he did for the sport was incredible. He elevated it to new heights into mainstream notoriety and prominence. People loved him. He's still one of the highest merchandise sellers, and yet we see with Stone Cold why it often doesn't work to have a face champion. Why it's so much better to have a heel champion. He was never really a heel, and when he did turn heel, it was a regrettable career decision that he's acknowledged.
Right.
Because it wasn't a heel. It wasn't a true heel. It was like, I will now align myself with McMahon,
Right.
which was a horrible choice.
It was.
So yeah, for his contribution, he's top 10. For his actual where he ranks as a champion, it can't be higher, I don't think.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, I think that'll be controversial in the chat. I mean, 100%. Like, where do you think, guys? Do you think Stone Cold is higher than number 7 all time? Also, Bunders, I was trying to say hi, and it will not let me. Every time I hit reply, it says join Twitch today, which is weird.
Right.
Something's going
like
on there.
The peak of Austin was WrestleMania X7. Like, that's the height of Austin. That's the peak of his career.
So near his end, huh?
Yeah. It's a bummer. He had such, that neck injury.
Right.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Hard to have him higher. Bunder says he only wrestled 7 years. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't as long, but I mean, still in the top 3, top 4 merchandise sellers of all time. And yeah, anyway, yeah, I think he deserves a spot higher up. Maybe it's Attitude Era colored glasses, but Steve Austin is still able to elicit, like, you hear that glass shatter and you still get the something's about to happen, like, where a lot of times
broke. If the glass would have broke at last year's WrestleMania, and he would have helped put Cody over, if he had the spot that the Undertaker actually got, I would argue his contribution to all of wrestling to be higher.
Wow.
I would.
Wow.
Could you imagine in that spot, in that montage of the finish the story, if the glass would have broke and he would have put a stunner on The Rock to be the one to push Cody? Yeah. And we'll never know. He was asked, allegedly, he declined. We'll never know. We'll never know. But like, that's what would have been required, I would have thought.
And I wonder if his career will kind of always have an asterisk against it now, because the primary antagonist he ever faced, other than The Rock, was the owner of the company, and there's a big alleged asterisk there. So yeah. So in game, Bionic Redneck Steve Austin is phenomenal. Twit would argue that Acro Masters of the Universe Austin is still able to do insane damage. I can't think of any others that rise to the top. Stunning Steve's not great. Hall of Fame Austin is by far done in terms of his usability in game. Am I missing anybody? Or any version of Austin?
No, I think every time a really good Austin, other than Bionic Redneck, but every time an Austin was offered to us, it always felt like he was behind the meta. I don't remember a meta-defining Austin ever.
Zombie Steve. He was...
Even then, it was like a cheat code. It was kind of like a what Iron Sheik calls you cheese out a win with him. Right? So, yeah.
Gotcha. Well, all-time win-loss record, 817 wins, 532 losses, 121 draws, disqualifications, countouts, etc. WWE and WCW, and 6 world titles. So, speaking of 6, number 6 on the list, artificial intelligence believes that the 6th greatest wrestler of all time is Ric Flair.
It's crazy for me that he wouldn't be top 3.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's nuts. I don't know that we'll ever have a meta-defining Ric Flair in the game again, either. Which is I would love for there to be at some point a Legends month with
Yeah.
him to be the premier S plus tier
Yes.
character
Yeah.
of and if they could figure out the animation to do his strut, that would be that would be great.
That would be great. I'd love that. Yeah, it's some controversy surrounding him, and I'm not sure if he's in the good graces of the company or not right now. He's obviously great friends with Paul Levesque, so I would imagine that his
Right.
legacy is in good hands from that side of things. But yeah, in terms of in game, there's nothing. I mean, most of his models were released 5-6 years ago at this point. I think the newest is the Striker co-owner version, and that one is one of the worst in the game. Showboat Flair has some surprising utility for how old he is in there, but yeah, that's about it. We definitely need. We don't have a Hall of Fame Ric Flair in the game, right? I don't think so.
No.
So
No.
that'd be, yeah, if we did a Hall of Fame Rick, that would be a great way to get him a top tier, S plus tier character. But I think you're right. I would like to see a meta relevant S plus, like just regular old fashioned Ric Flair, maybe like his NWA days or something like that. Who knows?
Well, and
But
as we're talking about this potential Legends scenario, future MLC, maybe it is a Hall of Fame month featuring The Rock and Kane and Ric
yeah,
Flair and so many of the Hall of Fame kind of icons that we'd want to see. So, yeah.
yeah, yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good. Well, AI describes Flair as someone who embodies the essence of what a professional wrestler should be. He has a 2,553 win, 1,970 loss, and 476 draw record. Recognized with 16 world titles, according to the Sportster. Arguably more, WWE, NWA, JCP, WCW, and AWA. So, yeah, long time. All right, we're in the top 5, Rusty. So before I move on, some guesses at who you think should be in the top 5 based on who we have
Triple
so far.
H.
Okay.
Triple H, because he defined multiple eras as the top champ. He's been. I'm surprised. It's like I would put Triple H where Flair was.
Okay.
Like I would have said he's about number 6 or 7.
Okay.
Probably Shawn Michaels. Probably Hulk Hogan.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, let's see what you got.
Okay. All right. So number
Cena,
5.
Cena.
Yeah. Yep. Number 5. This is the one that I personally put as number 1, and it's not even close. I understand there's a lot of controversy, so I'm not taking into account later life. But number 5 is Hulk Hogan, according to AI.
Wow. Hard not to see him in top 3 again, like Flair, for the same reason. Those are the guys that built sports entertainment on their backs. Those are the guys that made it what it is today. Without an 80s Hulk Hogan, without a face to slam Andre the Giant,
Right.
I don't know that wrestling ever becomes mainstream. I don't know that it ever crosses over and isn't just some, high school gymnasium redneck entertainment thing at all. Right? At least that's my thought would be no Hogan. Who's carrying that era of wrestling?
Chic Tugboat.
Yeah. I mean, what without Hogan, why do we care about Chic, right?
Right.
So that top heel has to have an equally commensurate face to legitimize what they're doing. Right? So, yeah, and I'm not a Hogan. I was a Hogan guy as a kid.
Right.
I loved Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, same.
But I hated Hollywood Hogan, WCW, running the company, the ego, the belt control. Again, what he did to Brett with the Yokozuna. Hogan peaked in about 92 for me, 91. Yeah. And there was but he's certainly along with Flair. Those were the top names. That's the reason we care about wrestling today,
Yep.
in my opinion.
No, I
Is there
agree.
a top Hogan in the game? No.
Powerhouse Hogan, if you have all the tricks, is absolutely phenomenal. But you literally have to have all the tricks. And primarily his gear, because I've got everything but the gear and the drip plate for my Hogan. He can hit 50 million pretty easy, but if you've got his gear, he can hit 100 million without too much trouble at all. But again, that's with everything. Hollywood Hogan, not even close to meta relevant. Zombie Hogan is surprisingly bad. Like Merrick's did a video recently on how to make Zombie Hogan usable, and actually even pretty decent, but it requires, even by his estimations, a lot of work and a lot of clicks and a lot of luck. Hall of Fame Hogan is embarrassingly bad. Like his power gyms, which is his best build, are like 300 or something, like not even like in the 5,000, 10,000 range, I don't think. Right. And they're certainly not in the hundreds of thousands of range at 6 gold.
Is Ghostbuster Hogan? I don't even know. Is he?
Oh yeah. Yeah, Ghostbuster Hogan is still super meta relevant, but again, like, it just doesn't exist. Like, if you don't have him on your roster, which very small percentage of the game does, there is no possible way to get him going forward unless somehow Scopely gets the Ghostbusters license back or reskins them, which then it's not Ghostbuster Hogan anymore. So what's the point?
The reskin, it feels like the reskin era is over. They haven't done that in so long. I think they're done with that.
Right.
Santa
Hogan is good.
I like the way that Scopely has kept Hogan relevant and an evergreen entourage member. And in fact, a key entourage member. Like I think that's really neat, and I think that's really deserving of Hogan. So
I still, out of all the characters, again, from my childhood that I want in the game, I still don't understand why Legends era Hogan looks like Ruthless Aggression era, and why there isn't this Hogan in there. The yellow trunks. The shirt.
Put the panties on Hogan. They give him the old man trunks. Put the briefs on him. That's how I'll always remember. Terry Bolleo is in the banana hammock.
Banana hammock Hogan coming soon to Champions.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Come on, he's wearing the old man, spandex pants because I guess his leg muscles got varicose veins or something. But Yeah,
Dylan, we do have a video on him. It's a couple metas ago now, actually, though. But on Everything You Need, and there's 3 moments for him now. Plus there is the gear. Plus there is some plates. Plus so I mean it is a laundry list of things. But if you have all of them, he's really good. Santa Hogan was also brought up in chat, which of course Santa Hogan is supposed to always be meta relevant. Arguably though, I mean, that might be true if anybody could take him to 6-star gold or 6-star, like anything beyond 5-star, because most people can't even take him up to 5-star with the small amount of tokens that are out. So it's hard to even consider him a fighter, because if we went on the 6 gold account and used him, people would be like, well, like 2 people in the game have him at 6 gold. So what are you going to do there? Well, anyway, so all-time win-loss record, 1,585 wins, 396 losses, which sounds about right, 134 draws, 13 major world title reigns, including WWE, NJPW, WCW, and the APA, which is not the Acolytes Protection Agency, I don't think. But, maybe he invented that title and then won it himself, too. Who knows? Who knows? All right, we're on the Mount Rushmores now. So we're in the top 4, which means theoretically this is AI, artificial intelligence's Mount Rushmore of wrestlers. And number 4 is the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Thoughts?
Yeah, rightfully so. Rightfully so. Shawn Michaels was what Seth Rollins wishes he is.
Oh.
He was the most athletic, most dynamic, best on the mic, best in the ring. He was the guy that you could trust to give you a 5-star match at almost every outing. And he was good. He knew it, and he was cocky, and he was a larger than life persona. And in his biography, he writes about a lot of regrets that he has, that he chose the wrong path to stardom, that he was kind of a cutthroat, backstage politicker, and he had a lot of guys in the locker room didn't like him, and he made a lot of decisions that I think that he realized really hurt people.
Yeah.
And yet he's found, I think, redemption. He's atoned for his shortcomings, and now contributes still a ton to NXT. I think he's in real life one of Hunter's or one of Paul Levesque's closest friends, most trusted allies. So I think he's it would be hard. So post Hogan, Michaels carried the company.
Right.
Even through the Attitude Era. If his health would be better, oh my gosh, we could have gotten another decade of peak performance out of Michaels if he wouldn't have the bad back.
Yeah.
But he's absolutely top 3. Probably the best of the modern era, who I would consider. He just made everyone look good. He made everything he touched turn to
Vader.
Gold.
He didn't like Vader, so he pooped on him visibly. But no, I agree. So you say top 3. He's actually number 4 according to AI here. But yeah, I would agree. I would put him, for me, Hogan's number 1. Michaels is arguably number 2 all time for me. And I think even, I don't remember which one it was, like the Resurrection of Shawn Michaels DVD, or maybe I'm mixing up the Jake the Snake one with that. But either way, there was the video where, he had retired, his body was broken down, he couldn't do it anymore, all this kind of stuff. And then he came back in the Ruthless Aggression era. And, the whole conversation on that video was like, can Shawn even still go? It's Hunter and Shawn, because they fought each other. And Hunter's like, I'm just sitting here going, am I going to have to carry Shawn Michaels for the first time in my career? Like, is this what's about to happen? And Shawn Michaels comes back, and literally it's like he hasn't even missed a beat. He's immediately the best guy on the roster, just like that. So
in the ugly brown pants. Do you remember that? He came in
he was wearing the brown pants.
Like, what? Lee, without looking, and I'll ask the chat as well, without looking, how many Shawn Michaels do you think are in WWE Champions?
Oh, wow.
On the inventory, without looking?
7. I'm just guessing.
Any guesses from the chat? Type in your guess. The answer is, I'll read them out.
Okay.
Shawn Michaels, D-Generation X. Shawn Michaels, Icons of Wrestling. Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid. Shawn Michaels, Hall of Fame. Shawn Michaels, DX Army. Shawn Michaels, the Heartless Kid. Shawn Michaels, the Showstopper. And Rocker Shawn. 8.
Oh, I was one off.
8.
I
think that's appropriate that he stayed on the radar in this game over the last 7+ years. I would say it's probably time. Rocker Shawn is kind of semi-relevant.
Yeah.
I would love a rework of an old Shawn. I don't know that we need another Shawn, but how about we cheese up maybe the old, put him on what about a new Hall of Fame moment that revamped some of our old Hall of Famers?
Yeah.
Yellow gems do 800% damage.
Yeah, just really get him up there. Did you mention DX Army, Sean? You had to.
Yeah, that was the acro.
Acro. So
Yeah.
I mean, DX Army was great for so long, and then he had a brief reappearance in the 6-star meta. It'd be great if they did something to him, because I think that one out of all of them was like the one that I wanted for so long. Of course, so out of all the wrestlers, like real world personalities in the game, I think I'm missing the most Shawn Michaels out of everybody. I don't have Hall of
Wow.
Fame. I don't have Zombie. I don't have Rocker. Yeah, and so I mean, especially for me, like I've never had a good Sean except for that brief moment when IOW Sean was super relevant. Other than that, I've never had a Sean like I didn't have Rocker. I don't have Rocker now, so I obviously
Well,
didn't have him when he was big.
let me ask you this: if you were to pull this weekend, let's say you hit the loot and you
Okay.
got Rocker Sean and the Heartless Kid, which is
Mm-hmm.
Zombie Sean,
Right.
and let's say you got Hall of Fame Sean as well. You just hit the Shawn Michaels jackpot in the loot
It's one of
this
those
weekend.
chess things they used to do where it like has all of them if you
Right?
land it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Are you YOLOing any of them? Are you bringing any of them to 6 gold?
No. I
Are
mean,
you
Sean.
prioritizing any of them?
No, not outside of Shawn Michaels requirements. I mean, Rocker maybe just because I mean that's my favorite version of Shawn Michaels. Like I grew up
Right?
with
And
the
your mom's.
Rockers.
If I remember your stories and your mother's version.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. I was too young to know this, but I had a poster of the Rockers on my wall as I walked in, and my mom would often just be like, "Hi there." Like I was like, "Oh, what's going on here?" Like my mom really had a thing for Shawn Michaels back in the 80s. I mean,
He's
and
just a
now I look
sexy
back and go,
boy.
"Oh, that's what she was thinking. This is horrifying.
Huh?
My childhood is ruined."
No one wants to ever think about their mother's hormones ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a far stretch.
Right? Yeah.
So departing from that topic, because like someone asked in the chat, like, but is there like how many of these Seans are good at 6 gold?
Yeah.
I would say
Arguably.
several of them need to be maxed for trainer entourage
Right.
ability, but I mean, like Heartless Kid has a really great coach ability. Like he
Yeah.
can increase the number of black gems.
Right.
He does the same thing Dominic does, but for black gems.
Right.
I'll read it here. It's a coach at 26k, moves and gems, trap countdown juggernaut that generate black gems will create 3 more black gems.
Mm.
Increase kick out damage done by gems by 10%. That doesn't really
Yeah,
matter as
that part
much.
doesn't matter, but
Yeah. But I
yeah.
like that ability. Only zombies that have the ability, right? The
Yeah.
increase moves and gem.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well,
who's number 3?
well, hold on, because we didn't do the all-time win-loss. But I would just say
Uh,
no. There's not really any Shawn Michaels right now in the game that I would say is super meta relevant. But Rocker can get up there at least. So win-loss record: 1,453 wins, 590 losses, 94 draws. Only ever listed as active in WWE, and 4 major world title reigns. Now he was active in some of the territories, but it says most active promotions. But here's the thing: AI itself, AI all powerful, has said Shawn Michaels is the greatest in-ring performer ever. So there you go. There you
I
go.
think I agree with that.
Yep.
I think that's actually a quote that AI is pulling from
Could
that I've
be.
heard during interviews over the years. Yeah.
Yeah. Bunder says he sent me a DM. It's Dear Use feud lineup. I'll take a look at that in just a
Dear
second
You's
here.
a heck of a feuder.
Yeah, if
Really
Dear
good.
U's got somebody, I believe in Joe Hendry, who's not on the top 10 list, but number 3. This is going to surprise some people. Number 3, The Undertaker. The Undertaker.
That's interesting. I really like the Undertaker, but I don't know if I would have ever considered him a main card guy. Now,
Really?
I just
Wow.
I I just don't know if he's ever the draw, right?
Ooh.
He had
Wow.
some great matches. He had some.
Okay.
He is probably the top mid carder of all time. The most
Okay.
interesting mid card, carry the show on his back. He was the king of the locker room, the guy they all looked to, the guy that would he was kind of the referee
Yeah.
backstage.
He was the
Someone had a
ringleader.
grudge, he was the one that would sort it out. um I just at the height of his career, there were still better faces and better heels
Wow.
headlining the shows that he was on.
Hmm.
That's why I say he's the best, the best, the best.
The
He's the
baddest
best.
fist.
He's the best mid card wrestler of all time and one of the most important people in all of wrestling history.
Wow. You just said the
If the
best
Undertaker
mid
didn't
card
like you,
wrestler.
if the Undertaker didn't like you, if Mark Calloway did not like you, you were not going to make it. And if he did like you, or if he warmed up to you, he was going to make you so much better.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
He's fascinating. He's one of the most interesting personas in all of wrestling history. But is he top 3 over Hogan, over Flair, over Cena, over Michaels?
Wow.
No.
Wow.
No. Which one do you knock out to put Undertaker top 3 out of Flair, Hogan, Cena, Michaels? Which one do you knock out?
Wow. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's definitely in my top 5. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue knocking out one of those guys, but just to refer to him as a mid card, that's wow. That hit me weird.
The greatest
Mid Carter. Wow.
Now, all I'm saying is it's either going to be the opening match or it's going to be the match right before the main event, or on a weaker PLE, it's going to be the main event.
Gotcha.
Right? So he can do main event work, and he can work with your main eventers, and he can put them over. He can every match he was in was elevated. The stakes were always very high.
Yeah.
He and Shawn Michaels did some of the best work of all time.
Oh yeah.
He and Mick Foley had some of the best work of all time, right?
Right.
And I just in the Paul Levesque era, he was never the guy. He was, you know, that's a term in wrestling. The guy.
Yeah.
The guy that's going to carry you, that's going to sell the merch, that's going to hold the belt, that's going to put butts in the seats. I don't know many people that was like watching wrestling to see The Undertaker. But when they watched wrestling, Undertaker would steal the show many times. And that's what your best mid-carder will always do.
Wow. All right. Well, I mean, there's some thoughts in the chat here. I don't know if I can argue with some of that. Dang. Yeah. I mean,
I'm willing to be refuted and told I'm wrong, but tell me, which of these do you push out of the top 3? Do you push out Hogan?
No.
Do you push out Flair? Do you push out Cena? Do you push out Michaels?
Yeah.
Who's he more deserving than?
Yeah, I mean, that is hard to argue because, I mean, just in terms of who's carrying the company, those 4 are right there. Even, you know, to that extent, Roman will be right there. But, ooh, wow. Yeah, you're causing some thoughts, though. First of all, just to go back a minute, Sandeep, Ozzy in terms of in the game is phenomenal. He's one of my favorite tricksters in the game. But Lux says, you're not wrong. While Rock, Triple H, and Austin were headlining, Taker was rocking crap in the mid-card, even with the big show. Sensei Kreese says, Rusty, as much as I love your rant, this take is bad.
I don't mind being disagreed with.
Right?
This is why we love wrestling, because we can disagree.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, goodness.
and Kreese, this is a very fair statement Sensei Kreese made. You
Right.
don't have to push anyone out. He can be top 5 or top 10 and also not be considered a mid-carder.
Yeah.
I think there's a case to be made for that. I think there's more of a case to be made for Undertaker being a main eventer than Undertaker being made top 3 of all time.
Yeah.
So fair, very fair, very fair.
See, for me, and this is hard for me to, because I didn't bring it up before when we were talking, but for me, Flair was never the guy. I could care less if Flair's career ever existed. I have no affinity towards him, whatever. So I would put Undertaker in Flair's place, but it's hard to argue from a historical standpoint that Ric Flair wasn't one of the most important people in the business. And without Undertaker, yeah, I mean the streak's gone, but things can. If Mark Calloway had come out as the gobbledygooker as he feared that he would, I think wrestling history stays largely the same. If Ric Flair's career was erased, if he had died in that plane accident, then right. I think it would change the entire face of wrestling. So, man, this is a conversation I didn't expect, but
I think Undertaker is an icon. Okay, I think he's an icon, and
agreed.
He's not only is he an icon, but he was someone that the alt kids could resonate with.
Okay,
right? He was someone that the tattoo crowd could get behind. The bikers, the people that are obsessed with Halloween, right? The people that
right.
That love wearing black, like we used to call them goths, right? So, I love that crowd. I feel like I feel like I am in that crowd, so to speak. Yeah. That I was never the jock. I was never the cool kid. Right. I was never the quarterback in school.
Right.
I
Me too.
Made good grades. So I felt like I could connect with Undertaker and Mankind more than I could ever connect with on a personal level, right? A Shawn Michaels, as far as who I think I am,
right?
Who is like me? We talk about representation a lot, right? So who is actually like me that's doing this at a high level, right? I loved Kane and Undertaker and the Brothers of Destruction, and they did some of the best storytelling ever. Their stories were, as far as the depth and complexity of storytelling in an era where storytelling did not have depth and complexity. They were it. Were it. So, much respect to The Undertaker. Much respect. But no, I don't put him top 3.
Wow. Well, we'll have some takes to go in number 2 and number 1. But first, Undertaker in the game. There's 17 versions of The Undertaker?
Let me look. You tell me how many you really think there are, and I'll look it up.
I think there's at least 10 because there's multiple in each class. I mean, there's at least 2 powerhouse. There's at least 2 strikers. There's at least 2 showboats. So that's 6. Yeah, so I think there's at least 10 in the game.
I'll name them for you.
Okay.
There are 9. You're
close. Oh, it's close.
The Dead Man, Trickster.
Okay. Yep.
Icon, IOW, Striker, American Badass, Showboat, Dead Man Walking, Zombie, Acro, Hall of Fame, Powerhouse.
Yep.
The Phenom, Powerhouse, Glowing Phantom Phenom, Technician.
Yeah.
The Last Outlaw, Striker, and the best Undertaker, arguably Ministry of Darkness, Showboat, Undertaker, the newest Taker. Really strange to me that he's a showboat. I don't know, but
right. I mean, it's good. It's good. That's the one. So I don't have MOD. I don't have Ministry of Darkness Taker.
Me
So
either.
and I got Hall of Fame Taker, and especially got the tricks for Hall of Fame Taker way too late. So I have also never had a meta relevant or meta defining Undertaker in my game. I do still want to take Hall of Fame Taker to 6-star gold, just for the fact that I love that model. I loved that character, and I wanted to have him so bad when he was the boss battle destroyer, when he was the guy to feud with. But I missed him at that point, and I still don't have Ministry of Darkness Taker, and I don't even know. I mean, I know he was very move damage based. I've heard a number of people say that that Ministry of Darkness Taker is still very meta relevant, but I haven't touched him. I've literally never played with him. In fact, our 3-minute move set video for him is Smashkez. Smashkez did that video for us because that was back before we had access to the candy store accounts, and I just didn't have him. So, I mean, yeah. Your thoughts, Rusty? Triple or
So
Undertaker in game?
my thoughts are, I love the 7th anniversary month when the Last Outlaw got that rework, because what that did was that solidified him as an evergreen entourage ability. It secured his place in the game forevermore. And I think there could be more room for that. And I also think getting Ministry of Darkness Undertaker last year, kind of at the height of the 6 silver meta, I thought that was a very appropriate and exciting release. Yeah. And it kind of coincided with Bionic Redneck and Tech Rock. Right. So they really gave us a new attitude offering, which that category needs attention continuously.
It still does, yeah.
So it's great. I would love to see more Undertakers and more versions of the Undertaker moving forward in the game. I would love to see the cutoff sleeve with the giant purple tie and the Phantom of the
Gray
Opera
gloves,
faceplate mask.
Yeah,
remember the shattered face?
Yeah.
That would be great. That would be great, and let him just be the trickster we have always, longed for.
Right.
Part of me feels like they gave Ozzy the spot that they could have given to a really wild Undertaker, and I got to be okay with that. So, got to be okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, all-time win-loss record, 1,863 wins, 536 losses, 94 draws or disqualifications. Active in WWE, NWA, and WCW, 7 major world title reigns. All right, so there are 2 left.
Incredible.
One of them I have some strong issues with, but I want to hear your guesses. The top 2 wrestlers of all time, based on what artificial intelligence has to say. Where do you think's left?
It's wild to me that we haven't heard from Triple H yet. It's wild to me that we haven't heard of Cena yet. I can't think of anybody else that is just missing, completely omitted. So it'll be very surprising if there is a name other than Cena or Triple H remaining on this list.
So be surprised if Macho Man, if Roman Reigns, if Cody Rhodes showed up in that list, if Dusty Rhodes, if Roddy Piper.
I would be surprised. Okay. I think Macho Man equally, everything I said about Undertaker about being the top mid-carder, I think I would say Macho Man was the top mid-carder during the Hogan era.
Yeah.
He was the top IC champ right? I mean, I would say, and I love Randy Savage. I loved Randy Savage, but I think it's the same. I think it's the same equivalent. You're gonna get a main event match out of him, but he's gonna be the most interesting thing happening in the mid card, at least to me.
Wow. Well, number two, and I strongly disagree with this placement over most of the rest of the list we have so far, is Triple H. Paul Levesque, number two, most important, best wrestling of all time, according to
Yeah,
artificial intelligence.
yeah, I could see it. He's certainly one of the most decorated,
Yeah.
right? And I don't think he wanted to be in that spot. I
Oh,
think a healthy Austin would have changed their placement. I think Triple H carried the belt and feuded with The Rock when a healthy Austin would have done a lot of that work.
mm,
Um,
mm.
I think what Triple H has meant to the business is irreplaceable. I
Right.
think also
Yep.
he carried, not only did he carry the Attitude Era post Austin injury, he carried DX post Michael's injury,
Mm.
right? So
It's
he
true.
did a lot. He actually was
It's
the
true.
healthy Clydesdale pulling the carriage of the
Right.
company when others could not.
Mm.
And he was a great heel champion. He was a safe person to carry the belt and to advance the cause, the business. What he
Right.
meant in the Attitude Era was probably outshadowed by all that he did in the Ruthless Aggression Era, and
Yeah.
continued to push the bounds, bringing in and putting over Randy Orton,
Yep.
keeping Ric Flair relevant. Um,
Batista.
pushing Batista and
Roman.
Orton. He brought them into the main event scene. He legitimized them as champions.
Yeah.
Um, just it's hard to disagree with his resume.
Yeah.
It's hard to disagree with his top of card. If you randomly choose a PLE from 20 years ago at random, there's
Yep.
a high probability that Paul Beck is wrestling in the main event of that PLE.
Yep. That's
And
true.
it's probably a title match, and it's probably a really, really good match. He
Yeah.
was a great worker. He was great on the mic. He was fun outside the ring, I think. He was a friend. He was in the Clique, one of the founding members of the Clique. They kept the business booming.
Right.
I think
Right.
he was a key player in the Monday Night War,
Yeah.
both on screen and off. For
Hmm.
for me, it makes sense that he's there. I don't know that he was ever the most likable guy. I don't know that he was ever the merchandise seller. I don't know
Outside of
that he was ever,
DX. Yeah.
yeah, outside of the DX shirt. I don't know that people wanted the game gear, I don't know that there's a lot of Triple H marks out there that would say he's their guy above
Yeah.
all other wrestlers. But he did the work. He did the work that the Undertaker did, but at a higher level.
Yeah.
And that's how I would say, well, Paul Levesque is in the main event of everything. And he was pushed. He was definitely pushed. But you know what else? He was sidelined because they did that infamous curtain call and broke kayfabe and brought in
Right.
Razor and Diesel and hugged in the ring. He
Yep.
was supposed to have won King of the Ring that year. The year that
Yep.
Austin won King of the Ring, the year that he did the famous Austin 316 rant on Jake
Yep.
the Snake. It was because Paul Levesque was under the crawl of Mr. McMahon
Yep.
and got sidelined. I don't know that there would have ever been an Austin 316 movement if there would not have been the ego of Triple H bumping up against the ego of McMahon. He was a kingmaker.
Mm.
It's hard to not acknowledge that Triple H was and still is the kingmaker of all of wrestling.
Wow.
The same way, and shout out to Davey D. I call
Yes,
Davey
to say
D the kingmaker of the content creators, because he's who brought in Professor. He's who brought in Champions Chat, or at least he vouched for us when very few had ever heard of us. Right. So there's something to be said about the kingmaker actually being the king. So,
wow. Well, I will say one of my absolute. I historically hated Triple H, and I think that's in the good way. I think that's in the he got heat sort of thing. Like I couldn't stand him for 99% of his career. My favorite moment for a long time in all of WrestleMania history was his match against the Ultimate Warrior, because I thought it was hilarious that he just came in and just squashed. Like, he takes a pedigree, stands up and goes, nope, and then boom, down goes Triple H.
Gosh.
But
I would put Ultimate Warrior maybe as number one in my list of all-time hated wrestlers.
Yeah.
Who I never wanted, who I would go get a snack during his match and had no interest in, and thought was pushed way too far, and never should have gotten over. And I don't know any Ultimate Warrior marks, but so they're out there somewhere.
Yeah.
So I never liked his promos were terrible and weird, and
they were hilarious. Fill the rocket ship with the fuel.
I call forth the lightning from the heavens to bring into this mortal body as my warrior. And it's like, what is he saying? What is he doing? It's word salad gibberish, and he's high on coke and steroids, and I don't like him. So.
It is. I still use him as an example for like when I'm teaching people how to pray and like the what not to do, because the WrestleMania 6 promo where he's like, Hulk Hogan, I just Hulk Hogan. If you Hulk Hogan, I Hulk Hogan. Like every third word is Hulk Hogan. And I'm like, I tell people like, don't do that. Father God, I just Father God, I Father God, If
you really want a glimpse of Prime Warrior, watch the behind the scenes take of his apology video. The apology for like cussing out that little kid in the airport, and Vince made him film an apology, and they got the unedited version of that. Oh, it's so good. It's so revealing of who Jim Hellwig Warrior was. Yeah. Just like on the Little Rascals, the scum beneath my toes.
Wow. Well, back to Triple H then. So in game, Triple H probably has the most. I would say there's at least 10 Triple H's. But here's the thing: if we're talking about the AI reality of this list versus in-game reality, I would say out of all the people we've mentioned so far, Triple H probably still has the most meta-relevant fighters and coaches out of there, because Rex Regum, absolutely top tier.
How many do you think there are? How many Triple H's?
I want to say 12. I'm sure I'm a little high on that one, but I want to say 12.
Your guess is 12. There are 10.
Oh, see, I was
close. List off as many as you can. List off the ones you can.
Okay, all right. Well, let me go through. So Rex Regum is absolutely one of the top in the game right now. Hall of Fame Triple H is still super good at 6 gold. If you've got a Piper plate and the Triple H plate, or the Nightmare plate, just so good. Striker Triple H is one of the most important Power Gym coaches in there. The Blue Blood Triple H is still a great trainer. Plus, sometimes that era shows up and he's one of the ones that you have to use in there.
Hang on. The 10 that I'm counting do not include Connecticut Blue Blood. So that would be an 11.
So I was closer with 12.
He's not on this list. Yeah, because I'm looking at the list. I'm gonna go down and see why he's not on this list.
That is weird, because he's listed as Hunter Hearst Helmsley instead of Triple H.
That must be it. Yep.
Yeah.
So there would be 11.
So 11, yeah, unless there's another Hunter Hearst or whatever, or some weird
No.
combination. Okay, so DX Army Triple H carried the 6-star gold, or I'm sorry, 6-star bronze meta. Was just absolutely phenomenal. The other tech one is not relevant in any way, shape, or form. Needs a desperate rework, like
Oh,
now.
the old
Like,
DX one, DX
yeah,
Army,
the
or
pass,
whatever.
the one you have to pay for to have.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, he's a yuck. He's a
Yeah,
yuck.
he is not meta relevant anymore at all, at all. Let's see. So I've lost the I've lost where you asked me to be, is like, can I name all of them? Let's
Yeah,
see. So no, probably not. I mean, there's is there two IOW Triple H's? There's at least one,
there's IOW Powerhouse.
right?
There's the Game Powerhouse.
Right.
There's Evil Skull King
Oh
Acro.
yeah, I wouldn't have thought of him. Yeah.
There's
Yep.
the Skull King Zombie
Yep.
Striker. And there's King of Kings, the Showboat
Right.
VIP subscription. So
Right.
those are the ones. Yeah.
And that's super relevant too. I mean, you in order to do any of the victory tours, in order to do the champs, like the one tour each month that gets you extra stuff, you have to have the KOK pass. And if you have it for other reasons, you get that character, which he's a decent trainer. He's okay as a fighter. I mean, in fact, KOK Triple H is a better usable character than either of the two more expensive pass characters. So,
Let me ask you this, Lee. Do you think for people that already had, let's say they had the King of Kings pass, let's say for 2 years, and they got all of the IOW guys from that,
mhm.
there's still a big value in it or not? Or what is the value, I guess I should say?
Of the King of Kings pass.
Yeah. If you
Well,
have recruited all of those IOW promoters.
yeah, I mean, if you've recruited all the IOW promoters, that starts to lessen the argument. But I know, for example, like Captain Jack from the Black Pearl, he will buy the King of Kings pass at least once a month, and then use that to beat the special tour, to do the,
Right.
the victory tour, and you get, basically 1 week you pay for it, you get two. If you do it right, you get 2 weeks worth of content out of it. So like half the month he'll have that. The character itself, you have to use for those special tours, so you have to have the pass in order to do the special tours.
Okay.
Certainly every week that you have it, you get the little coins, the prize world currency, basically, that allows you to go in and get not only the IOW promoters, but also like up to a certain level of token, like for just of your
Right.
choice, which I know I had to
Yeah.
use recently because I did not have whistles, the whistle for the 5 silver striker token. So that was good there. And then KOK himself is a trainer that you can use on a few characters, although I think 6 bronze 6 silver meta, there were a number of characters that you really used him better, and in terms of as a coach or a trainer, and I don't see that as much at six gold. But yeah, I don't know.
So
Am I missing anything? I'm trying
the
to
chat
think.
is saying that the most valuable thing is the 2x speed
Of
in
course.
Tours, Blitz, and
Yeah.
Showdown. So
Yeah,
they're saying
absolutely.
299 and you get the Showdown and Tour perks are worth it. So
Right.
that's nice.
Yep. Yep. 100%. 100%. Well, Triple H win-loss record is interesting to say the least. 1,039 wins, 873 losses. So you talk about the era of Triple H that I remember is what I called the Golden Shovel era, where he just literally buried everybody. But that
Right.
narrative doesn't hold up, because if you look back, almost every WrestleMania he lost. He put over almost every person that he fought at WrestleMania.
Right.
Yeah. So his win-loss record is almost even. Still a little more on the wins, and then 71 draws. He was WWE and WCW. He was terrorizing in WCW, and then 14 world title reigns. So he is among the top champions in terms of how many world title reigns he has. So. Anyway, all right, AI has ranked the greatest pro wrestler ever. Rusty, I bet you can guess it. Who is it? That's right.
It's got to be Cena, right?
It's got to be Kane. No, it's John Cena. Yeah. AI ranked John Cena as the greatest pro wrestler ever. I'll just go straight to his win-loss real quick. 1,800 wins with only 400 losses. So Cena wins, lull, is absolutely the case. 55 draws, only really ever in WWE. 16 world championships, tied on paper with Ric Flair. A couple of Ric Flairs aren't getting counted. But yeah, it says that AI says John Cena is the current face of WWE, which, that's okay. He's leading some question marks to the ranking. AI also mentioned that Cena's heel turns were important to the business, which John Cena famously only was a heel during the Doctor of Thugonomics era, and even then arguably wasn't actually a heel. But obviously that was the big thing, is if Cena had ever taken the Hulk Hogan route and done the Hollywood Cena, like even one of my favorite, no jokes, I sometimes I'm trolling you, but no jokes whatsoever, one of my favorite WrestleMania matches of all time is the Firefly Funhouse match. And one of the reasons that I love that so much is they kind of do that what if scenario of if John Cena had gone heel and been like NWO Cena, what that would have done, for the business and etc. So there's some question marks on if AI is listing this as the reason why he's number one, and both of the things it lists are wrong. So yeah. Anyway, your thoughts, Rusty? Oh. Crap, we lost Rusty. Look at that. Hold on. I'll bring him back here.
Oh.
Okay, I got you back on the stream. You were gone for a minute there, Rusty.
Yeah, no, that was my John Cena moment where you can't see me, right? I just kinda...
Nice.
So Cena is arguably the most important superstar in the modern era. I think he was the gap fill between generations of wrestling fans.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we'd still have the product we have if it weren't for Cena. I just don't know. John Cena also kept wrestling very mainstream. He kept it from losing its prominence. Now, you can say what you want about the PG era or the ruthless aggression era. Without a Cena, I don't know that CM Punk would have ever risen to notoriety as kind of the anti-Cena, right? As the bad attitude, right? You need somebody that's the golden boy, polished Boy Scout,
right?
That's what makes for a great heel.
Yeah.
And Cody is the new Cena, basically. Cody is the polished Boy Scout, likable, handsome guy that kind of you think of as the varsity quarterback, right? The guy that you think of as the all-American kid. Without that kind of face, it's really hard to build a credible heel in your business. Now, Cena did it forever, too. Forever.
Arguably, he carried the company through some of its worst years since the New Gen era.
Yeah. And he put over he just put over person after person after person. And is probably the greatest on the mic of all time. Still.
Oh, wow.
When Cena gets in the ring with you, he will shred you. and everyone knows it. Everyone knows The Rock was one of the best, and he made The Rock look like a rookie when they.
I don't put my promos on my wrists.
And he pointed it out. He called it out, which is Cena was actually brilliant at involving a crowd, and he didn't mind getting heat in the, Cena sucks. Like he never cared because he knew he was doing the company a service of getting the fans involved.
Yeah.
Lee, how many Cenas do you think are in WWE Champions?
Well, Noble January already said in the chat 7 Cenas, so I'm just going to guess.
That's wrong. That's a wrong guess.
Dang.
Yep.
Okay, so are there more or less?
More.
There's more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 9.
The answer is 10.
Oh, 10 again.
10 Cenas.
10
We got
Cenas.
the Prototype, Mutant Cena.
I love that
Veteran
one.
Salute. We've got Zombie Cena.
Mm-hmm.
We got Chain Gang Cena, who I think is one of my favorite concepts of Cena ever.
Yeah.
I wish he'd be really good. IOW Cena, Ghostbuster Cena, that carried my roster for nearly a year. Ruthless Aggression, the recently nerfed botch Cena, the reworked and then unworked Cena.
Unworked, yeah.
Evil Robot of the Skull King Cena.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Faker.
Also Loyalty Respect, which is probably the best Yellow Gem trainer in the game. And Invisible, You Can't See Me, Trickster Cena.
Yeah, which I think is hilarious. I love that they have an actual Invisible Cena in the game. I wish they would have listed him in the Mutants category, but whatever. Yeah, Cena. Oh, and Ghostbuster. Did you say Ghostbuster?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I said he carried my roster for about a year.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So John Cena in the game becomes like he's meta defining, but then he drops off super fast. Like there was a number of those that you mentioned that were super, super important in game and then just disappeared. But Ghostbuster Cena, I think out of all of them was the one that, I mean, I remember watching videos, before we were content creators. I think Sir Zorro even had one very early on that was like, this is the best free character they've ever made, like, period. And he was right. I mean, he was the go-to for some time. And when Ghostbuster Cena was the hot thing, that was when you really needed to have KOK Triple H because of the trainer ability matchup there. He made... Yeah. What's his name? Ridge Holland. He made me use Ridge Holland for a while because of that ability. I mean, just around the world. I still don't have Invisible Cena, which is sad because he's way past meta, way past prime. He's not in the Hall of Fame yet. Obviously, he'll be a top bill Hall of Fame whenever he goes in. But I think out of all the characters that all the top 10 wrestlers ever that we've listed, arguably I would say him or Hogan need a like S+++ tier character because none of the Cenas are relevant right now in the game. Just not even close.
What version of Cena or what kind of Cena could they even make? A Hall of Fame? Hall of Fame Cena.
Hall of Fame, which he's not in yet, or the last run, like the end is now, or the last time is now, or whatever. Like this run he's about to do. There, okay. I 100% guess that, no inside information, but I almost guarantee Scopely will make a last run ever Cena in the game, because that's what 2025 is going to be about. That's the overarching narrative of wrestling in 2025 is Cena's retiring.
Would he be a striker or a technician? Because he has 2 of every other category. He only has 1 striker and 1 technician.
Yeah, I don't know.
And would he have a bald spot in his graphic?
Yes, please.
I have the John Cena bald spot working really well for me these days.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I've got a 5 head. I can put the thumb in there.
He would be a showboat. I would think he'd be a showboat, but we've already got the Prototype and the original. Everyone's first superstar. The original Hustle, Loyalty, Respect. So.
And I love the Colossus Cena, the Mutant Cena, where he's just basically Colossus. That's one of my absolute favorites. Colossus is one of my favorite superheroes. of all time, and that they've got Colossus John Cena in there. That was my favorite crossover moment for a while. I forgot about
Right.
Evil Robot of the Skull King, Faker Cena. I used him. I mean, back when my roster was trash, he was really good at my roster back then.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I I I like that Cena kept wrestling relevant, and I like that he was a safe hero for little kids.
yeah,
That's what Hogan was to us,
right.
right? That's what Hogan was to us. Um, Cena is the Hulk Hogan of arguably, right? Uh,
Generation.
a generation.
We're two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Well, a couple comments in the text here. Mr. Rogue Effect, absolutely. The fact that John Cena didn't put certain people over is a knock on his history. In fact, arguably, he killed the Nexus. And if Bray Wyatt had been allowed to win, and I know that's a weird statement, but if Bray Wyatt had been allowed to win at WrestleMania, there's a good chance that Bray's career turned out a lot differently. And then Sensei Kreese just highlighted an inherent issue with the game. Almost everyone will become irrelevant, but that's kind of the way these games work. Like, that's not, I don't see that as a knock. The fact
Right.
that Powerhouse Hogan, for example, with some tricks, can still be one of the top characters in the game 5-6 years or whatever it's been. I think 5 years since he got released, I think is actually a testament to the fact that they do actually do a really good job of keeping certain characters relevant. Because, I don't play a lot of other games anymore, but I have historically played a lot of games, and this is how you do the power creep, is how you continue to keep things interesting. Because if Hustle, Loyalty, Respect Cena was still a top fighter in the game, then you're like, well, why do I need the new Showboat that just came out? Why do I need so the fact that they're able to continually do the power ramping in a relevant way, I think is a testament to the longevity of this game, not a knock against it. And personally, I don't mind it. I think it needs to continue to stay relevant and interesting, but I do love when they rework a character, or when you find a new plate that makes an older character all of a sudden super relevant. But a good example, Sensei Kreese, of your point is, like, I still don't have Muscle Man Bray. I would love to have Muscle Man Bray, but now that OTC is a thing, like, all I can think about is in terms of my UCC pass now, is I need to get OTC. Like, he's the most important striker in the game. And 5 years from now, it won't be, OTC will be
Right.
on everybody's roster, and he won't be meta relevant anymore, theoretically. I don't know. Maybe he's a William
So
Regal that can keep going, but
yeah, and I think I understand what Sensei Kreese was getting at. What I wrote in the chat, just so you guys can hear on the air, is like,
yeah,
I said, this is why their entourage ability is so important, right? And
right.
it's why we include it in our power rankings, because you can have an evergreen entourage ability and stay relevant for years,
Mm,
5, 6+ years. Matt Hardy is a living proof of that.
yeah,
That Titus O'Neil is proof of that. Someone
yeah.
that we still reach for and use,
Titus.
and no one else has that ability. I still think about Titus sliding under the ring
I know,
at
that's
Royal Rumble.
Titus World
That's
Slide.
that's the greatest. That was the greatest entrance in Royal Rumble history.
I know,
Um,
it's cemented in Botchamania
so
forever.
so that's why I think, like, these zombies, like, you can be high or low on Zombie Brett or Zombie Chelsea, irrelevant. They are now evergreen coaches that will benefit you arguably for the next 5 years in the
Yeah,
game.
yeah,
And were as good as Gunther, and they even made Gunther better because of them.
yeah.
So very, 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 very important, I think.
Right. Yep.
Um,
Agreed. Agreed.
That's pretty
Bunders,
neat.
Rusty and I need to talk about that. I mentioned it this morning, but Two Bob's video, if you haven't seen it, is very compelling of an argument on Batista. So we'll figure it out. We'll talk about that. But
Let's talk about what happened. We don't have to talk what did happen, right? Is for those who might be listening or might have already watched Two Bob's video. Some are asking for a response from us. Do we have
yeah.
a response, or can we let people know what even what the situation is from our perspective?
Sure. Well, I mean, I think that we probably did get it a little wrong when he was out. Now, some of the things that Two Bob points out in his video, which is phenomenal, be sure to watch it, in terms of like, look at this. Some of the use cases that he presented, like especially for the trainer ability and some of those things, were people that are out now but weren't when Batista was there. I mean, obviously the writing was starting to be on the wall that pyro gyms were going to come back into a much more prominent state, but they weren't just yet. Like the characters that came out that month were important for pyro gyms, but we didn't yet have, he mentioned Solo Sokoa, the showboat. We didn't have Solo Sokoa showboat when he came out, etc.
Right.
Now, the fact that, yes, Batista with quite a number of tricks, but still, he accounts for that in his video, hit 60 million pretty handily. And we had him as a 3 on power, which means that the top end that we got to was maybe 20 or 30 million in damage. And also, to be fair, with our video, the triple black setup was figured out after we actually power rated him. So some characters, like for example, this weekend we'll power rate a couple characters that are probably previous characters. I've got a couple thoughts, but I want to talk to Rusty before I just say, hey, we're doing this, whatever. But
Did he use Raphael on Batista?
He didn't run the triple black, actually. He actually ran the Pyro Gym build. So
right.
very fair, because
Right.
I would have docked a lot more heavily the triple black build because you need either Goldberg or Seth. Goldberg is becoming much more available. Seth is still super rare, but both of them are still really rare trainer coaches. But no, he used the red and green combination that you have the combo move that does the pyro gems on the bottom, and it creates some red, so it loads the other moves, put out multi gems, and then go from there. Now he does use Leonardo at one point, but then he even takes Leonardo off and mentions once Chelsea Green is at 6-star gold, he won't even need Leonardo because he'll use Chelsea Green, which very relevant, cool. Very pointed.
Very cool. So here's my thought about the Two Bob content and the refutation of our content. I'm so glad it happened. I'm so glad for new and better and more current information to surface than what we had at the time of our recording. Also, I am so thankful that power ratings have become so baked into how we evaluate a superstar.
Yeah.
It's still the matrix by which we are evaluating.
Yep.
I would take a Two Bob video saying, hey, you got this power rating wrong any day over a video saying power ratings are stupid, they don't work, they're just tier list, da 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 da.
Right.
That's the argument that will lose my interest immediately. Someone who's just pooping on what we are doing.
Right.
Bob, I thought, gave a thoughtful response.
Yeah.
And that's again, the reason we love wrestling is because we can disagree and because the conversation is fun to have.
Yeah.
So what Bob did was further the conversation, right? And make it fun to have, especially for the free-to-play community who is gifted this Batista, right? You get this Batista and you go, I don't know if this guy sucks or not, but I've got to use him for a month. And then you discover he's probably your best striker if you're free to play.
Right.
And probably better than you realize. That's good news to the community. If we tell people these guys are better than you realize, that's a win for the community.
Agreed.
Now, if we oversold it and we said, put all your stock in, Strider Cena, take the evil assistant of the Skull King, 6 gold, YOLO. Now, if we tell you that, and then you do it, and then you realize that it was a bad decision, and you hate us forever, and we lose our credibility with the community, right? So I would always prefer to be wrong and undersell and have someone else say, no, guys, he's better than you thought, because the community wins in that scenario.
Right. Yep, I agree.
So this was happy rant.
Happy rants, yes.
It's a happy rant.
It's a happy
rant. We want more videos proving how wrong we are, showing how great characters are and how useful the community can make them.
Yeah.
Terrific. Do one a day, Bob. We would love it.
Wow.
Do one a day.
Wow.
Do one a day. So
I don't know if I'd go that far on it, but just Bob re-ranks everybody. That would be
start titling the video "Why Lee is Dumb." Just kidding. Just kidding about that part. Just kidding about that part.
Yeah, it's a person. But Bunder says in the chat that the power ratings are widely respected and people use them all the time when considering who to invest their resources into, which is humbling. That's honestly amazing. So
yeah, and if you're out there listening and saying, "What the heck are power ratings?" Join us on Friday nights on Twitch, on the Champions main Twitch account, and we call it Enter the Chat. That's our show's name, Enter the Chat, because that's what we want you to do. We want you to come in to the chat, help cast your vote on 5 distinct categories that help us evaluate the potency and validity of the newest superstars that are released in WWE Champions. We want your input. We want your voice to be heard as we demonstrate the gameplay, and then vote on how powerful, how fast, how ready, how versatile, and how good of an entourage that superstar is, right? So please, this is my impassioned plea for you to be part of this process. You're living or watching and worrying, what the heck power rating, and why would it matter, right?
Yep. I agree. Well, I've got about 10 minutes till I got to get to work. This was I'll be quite honest. I thought, we can knock this like AI conversation out in a few minutes, and that became an hour plus of this episode. But I think it was good. I had a lot of fun with it.
No, it's good because the game, right now, this is a Thursday where we've seen a midweek kind of blitz, and there's not a lot going on out of the ordinary in the game right now. So this makes for a great conversation, and hopefully keeps it fresh, where we're just like, hey, Lee, did you look at Zombie LA 9? Yeah, I looked at him. Hey, we showed him 2 weeks ago. Okay, what are you going to feud this weekend? Yeah, I'm going to feud. Yeah. So
right, yeah.
Like, that could have been the episode, you know, which is now. Let me just address one thing, maybe the elephant in the room. If you're going, why did these guys not talk about the new, I think it's R68? Why didn't they talk about newest update and the strap filters? And I'll tell you why, friends. Because neither Lee nor I can access the update yet, because we are both in the Apple ecosystem and the game has not updated for us. And so Android, we got reports this morning that a new region of Android users was allowed to update. So far, there have been numerous Android regions updating. iOS takes a little longer. And then after iOS, the portal will be updated. So because Lee and I are exclusively iOS and portal users, we're excited to review that and have those conversations, but we have not got a chance to use it. So we are just excited as you are about the new update to the game, and we've had to watch the Merrick's videos just like you have to find out what's happening in the game.
Right, because he actually had access to it for that. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a good topic maybe for next week, or for sure tomorrow, maybe even tonight, if Champions Chat happens to be the ones revealing the blog this weekend. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Well, and I was gonna say thoughts and prayers that we get that update, right?
Yeah.
I would love to be pleasantly surprised during my lunch break today that it was live, and maybe I'll even take the rest of the afternoon off for the sick day if I got to go play the game update and test it out.
Right.
Can you imagine calling your boss, "Hey, I'm gonna have to take the afternoon off." Oh, are you not feeling good? Well, this video game I play, there's an important update.
Strap filters are finally out, buddy.
You don't understand. I just need the time. I just need the time.
Oh, that's funny. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I think that's it for this episode of Champions Chat. But as Rusty said, join us tonight for those who are in the chat live right now, or watching it early release window, because we typically should be able to get this out here in just a little bit. Because we're going to be on the main channel. We're going to have a blog reveal for you to talk about what this LA Knight Shard recruit release looks like, and we'll also be on the main channel tomorrow night for our regular segment, Enter the Chat, where we are going to power rate probably a couple zombies. We're still holding the TMNT until they come back. We will power rate the missing 2 TMNTs, don't worry, but probably a couple zombies. Rusty, anything else before we go?
Well, yeah, not only zombies, we are anticipating a new, or we can only anticipate, but we think there's going to be a new zombie in this weekend contest, and we'll be the first. Week. We'll be the first to be able to demonstrate what that new superstar can do. Lee, can you imagine? In my wildest dreams, we'll have gameplay tonight of that new superstar. Maybe we'll be able to reveal it tonight, learn how to use that zombie, and then power rate them tomorrow night. Wouldn't that be a lot of fun? That's what I'm hoping will happen.
No, we'll see. I think that the next zombie is next week, but I'd be glad to be wrong. I'd be glad to be wrong. I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. We'll find out with all of you on the WCW weekend contest.
Yeah, we don't actually know, Bunders. We just know. We know about an hour before we go live on stream what we're going to be revealing.
Sometimes 2 or 3, but that's about it.
Yeah, we don't know if it's Punk tonight. We don't know if it's only LA Knight Shards in the loot. We don't know if there's going to be any changes. We will find out, and then we will tell you when we find out.
That's right. Well, thank you guys for being a part of the conversation. We so appreciate you as a community. This is an awesome, great chat, great community, and we love playing this WWE Champions game. So that's it for this week. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.